visiting the chief today, Chief Holsten, going to tell us about his days in South Brunswick.
Well, I was born outside of Dayton on the Fresh Ponds Road. The house is still there. And after I was about 10 years old, my father bought a farm on the Dayton-Jamesburg Road. And we moved to that farm.
Keep your voice up a little, Chief. Louder.
We moved to the farm on the Dayton-Jamesburg Road. And I was there helping dig potatoes, plant potatoes. I went to Dayton school, and after school, we'd work, milk cows, take care of horses, and then when I was about 18 and a half, I decided I wanted to put a bid in on a school bus. And I worked at Fourthgate Farm for a while, and they had a bus over there, and their children came to Dayton School. So I put a bid in for Monroe Township, and I got the bid, and I carted these kids to Dayton School in a Model T Ford bus. And then Mr. Mobile said to me, if you get the contract, we'll sell you the bus for $1. And I bought the bus.
Isn't that a nice deal?
Yeah. And then I'd done that for a while, and then I went over to Monroe. They had the children from Fourthgate went to Monroe, they lived in Monroe. And I put a bid in there, and I got that bus contract. So I had both schools I could run in one bus, in the morning and the afternoon. Then in 1933, Mr. Griggs and Mr. Henderson and Mr. Emmons came to me. They were on the township committee, and being that I had nothing to do from 9 o'clock until 2 and from 4 on, they asked me if I'd be a constable in South Brunswick. No pay. I said, sure, I'll do it. And I did. For a number of years I'd done that. And then in the early 40s, the war came on, and we had aliens in the township, and I had to check on them. But it had to be signed by the chief of police. So they made me chief. We used our own cars, and in 1944, I think, it was 42.
42 was Pearl Harbor, wasn't it?
Yeah. They said that they would pay me $500 a year because I had to visit the aliens and talk to them and make reports. And that's what I did. And then in 1959, there was a change in the committee, and I wasn't appointed for the year of 60, in 61. Then I worked for the Garden State Park League, and I had to sell my buses because I couldn't do both, and I sold them. And then in 1962, I was reappointed as chief with salary, and that was full time. And then we started building up the department with Bill Gories, Tony Del Rey, and Tim McDonald from Kingston. And we did that for quite a while. And when they passed an ordinance in the township for the police department, and we started building it up. And I was chief then until 1974, when I retired. But every time I could go to school for the police, I went to, I don't know how many schools, and I had diplomas and certificates. anything else now?
Yeah, we didn't put into some of
The only duties you mentioned were the reports on the aliens. Your job became, how many other duties did you have to perform other than that?
Well, we done traffic, we done everything. And if we had a murder case or something, we would call in the state police or the prosecutor's office and they would help us.
How many of them did you have?
We had 2 or 3 murder cases.
Solve them?
One we never solved.
Which one was that?
That was the Bigman one.
Bigman?
Bigman one. And I can't remember the other one. And there was one right before I left, I think.
the Susan Sunday case.
Yeah, yes, it was in Sunday. That was never solved. And then we had the one up in the Camelpot Bank,
But we got that.
and we got those. The couple of our men, a couple days before, checked out a car parked on Kendall Park Road. It was just where they could see the bank. They was under, and it was a rented car from the renting company. And when this happened, we got a hold of state police and the FBI, and we told them about this car, and it was rented by a certain company up in New Brunswick. And they checked it back, and they, who it was rented to, and they got the names of the fellow, and then the case was solved. If it wasn't for our officers here in South Brunswick, we would have never knew it. Because it was the janitor that was killed in the morning.
What was the most enjoyable about the job? What did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed being with people. I could go to people's houses and sit down and have a cup of coffee. And if ever I learned anything from them, I would never tell where I got it from. And people trusted me. Because I didn't want people to get it wrong. If they knew something, they would tell me.
They trusted you.
Yeah, they trusted me. Our police headquarters was in this house for a while.
It's interesting.
My wife was my secretary, no pay. And the last time she put her foot down, we had a fellow come in here one morning. He still lives, I still know him. He come in here and knocked on the front door. It was at night, evening. And he says, come on in. I didn't know what happened to him. And he walked in, he sat in the chair, and he says, Mr. Fred, I shot a hole in my foot. I was showing my wife how easy it was to be careful of guns, and I threw it on the floor and it went off.
Wow.
And it went through his foot. I took him to the hospital, and we had no ambulance then, so I took him to the hospital in the car. And after I took him home, and about 2 hours later, he comes back with his wife, and the bullet went through her foot. He didn't know it. So we had to take her to the hospital. Yeah. Another time we had an accident out in front here, and the person was pretty well banged up. And I had to get him something to cover him. And I come home and upstairs and got a blanket. Brand new one.
Doris didn't appreciate that or
She
didn't care?
appreciate that either. She says, no more police headquarters here. So then we went over to the Junction school.
Junction school?
Yeah, the old school.
The old school?
Yeah.
That was when, do you happen to remember which year that was?
I don't remember what year, but there was a township, the judge was there, courtroom. And then we had the one back room.
Probably late 50s sometime,
Yeah,
right?
that was the late 50s.
And you raised your 2 children here?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And Fran works for the board?
Yeah, Fran works for the board. And Alan, he works in Freehold. He had 2 or 3 places they closed down where he worked. The last one they worked at, they moved to Mexico, and he wanted to go with. They wanted him to go along, and he wouldn't do it. So he's over in Freehold working now.
Many in the same place. Many going through the same thing.
Yeah. And he lives over in Monroe Township. He has 3 boys. He has 5 grandchildren. Got me. And then Frances, she lives up the road here. She has 2 great-grandchildren. And Leslie's on the way.
Good.
And makes me great-grandfather
That's okay, isn't it?
7 times.
Great,
I have 7
great.
great-grandchildren.
Very
And we
good.
really enjoy it.
And you have that
Yeah.
greenhouse out in the
I have a
backyard?
greenhouse in the back. I raise aloe plants and give them all away. But it gives me something to do. And that's open. I have that 12 months out of the year.
But you raise more than aloe plants.
Yeah, I raise aloe and geraniums and cactus plants and stuff.
You keep track of Patty Siegel.
Yeah, I
Make
help.
sure she runs those greenhouses correct.
Yeah, I go over to Warren Siegel and help them in the spring. This year I didn't help them. I couldn't. I'm trying my operation and all my problems. But I enjoy going. They call me the bud man.
Oh.
Because I took all the buds off the geraniums and stuff. They must have about 4,000 plants. And now I help them with apples.
Mhm.
When they grade them and sort them, I go over and help them.
Just bought some good apples.
Yeah.
I guess you saw a lot of change in technology too with the police department.
Oh, yeah, yeah. When I retired, we had, I think, 25 men. Now they got, what, 60?
63. Yeah, I was number 24 or 25th.
Yeah.
I guess I was one of the last guys
That
that
yeah.
you hired
Yeah.
right before you left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a good gang of men.
Mhm.
We did. We had a good gang. You could trust them. Not like you say you can't trust them today because I don't know them.
Mhm.
But we get very few complaints. Once in a while, they give out a ticket to the wrong person. They complained a little bit,
Mhm.
but they still paid it. And I enjoy living here in South Brunswick. Always have.
You never regretted that you didn't stay on your dad's farm and that you went into the police work? You never regretted?
No, no,
Never?
no.
Farming was a very difficult job.
It was a hard job, yeah.
And a gamble with the weather.
Many hours we put in there. Did a big potato farm. And we didn't have tractors in, we had horses to do all the work. So,
What was Dayton like when you lived on the farm on the Jamesburg-Dayton Road?
well, Dayton had just a few houses and a lot of old timers. They're all gone today. We had the harness maker, and we had the Luttons and the Crawfords. I could go on name with a lot of people, and they were all good people. Never no trouble with them. Even with them, I had told them once in a while with a juvenile, and if I couldn't straighten them out, I'd take them home and tell the parents, "Now here they are. Straighten them out, or I'm going to make a complaint." And then see what happens. And it worked.
I'm sure they appreciated that.
Yeah, yeah.
How was George's Road when you were young? Was that a heavily trafficked road or?
George's Road here was the main road between Philadelphia and New York. And we had traffic on weekends, and trucks would go to market in Newark, in New York, and they all went past here. That was the only road to Camden, to New York, on 30 over on the east side, and that took a lot of traffic here. But now we get traffic back here again.
When did they build Route 130, do you remember?
I don't remember, I think it was in 58. I'm not sure, I think it was 58.
And how about Route 1? Do you remember when they finished Route 1? They put that
I
through?
don't remember the date, but I remember that when that was a dirt road practically, and then they widened it. And the night that Hauptman was electrocuted, there was a lot of newsmen coming down one, and they had just begun to widen it. And there was one fellow passing me, he was doing a big 60, 70 mile an hour, and I went to pull him over, and he stopped, and I pulled in front of him, and he was on a motorcycle, and he made a U-turn and went back to go straight. And when I made my U-turn, I dropped down into where they were cutting it, when I couldn't get my car out.
That was the late 30s,
Yeah,
the Hauptman trial?
yeah, I believe it was.
And do you have any idea when he was executed? I've forgotten.
That's when he was executed,
Ah,
the
okay.
night he was executed, yeah. And I worked on a lot of cases. I worked on when the Hindenburg blew up. I was down there.
Oh, wow.
I remember that.
When the Asbury Park, the ship burned, I was down there. I helped on the Lindbergh case. They're the ones you don't forget.
So it was all coordinated with the
Yeah.
county and they just sent
Yeah.
you down there? Is that how it
Yeah.
worked?
No, I was hooked up to the Monmouth County radio.
Oh, I see.
And I was back at Dayton School. They had a dance there, and Bill Voorhees and I was in the back of the school, and all of a sudden
Okay, we can stop for a second.
I got pictures of the Hindenburg that burned up at the Asbury Park. Down there, I took pictures. That was way back in the late 30s.
Do you remember the world of, what was it, the War of World? What was that, over in Dutch Neck with
Grover's
Orson
Mill?
Welles?
War of the Worlds
yeah,
with
yeah,
Orson Welles?
Yeah, I remember it, but I wasn't there.
You weren't called on that
No.
one? Uh-huh.
Anything else?
Anything you can think of? Anything exciting that you remember that you'd like to tell us about?
Oh, there was a lot of exciting.
Any funny stories?
I remember. My memory's not too good.
How about the fires? I can remember the Searco home burning.
Yeah, we had
Do you remember
fire.
that?
And I remember when
In the 40s, early 40s?
Yeah. And when the Dayton steeple blew over,
Yes.
I got pictures of that.
That was a hurricane or something that whipped
A
through
tornado,
here?
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember when the store in Dayton got on fire, and when the chimney fell over, it fell on a Cranberry fireman that was killed.
Really?
Yeah.
What were the Four Corners all hotels in Dayton at that time? Or, I mean,
No,
when you were
no,
a
there
young
was just the
kid, or-
one hotel, a Penrose Hotel, and I have pictures of that I'll show you. And then we had, with Laurel yesterday, that was owned by Jude Lutman, and they had a post office in there and a house they lived in. And then across the street, there was a blacksmith shop on the Junction Road. And the road then was gravel road.
That was the Bastille family that had the black
Yeah,
shop
yeah,
family?
yeah, the Stevens family. And the house where the video store is today, that's on the Dayton Jamesburg Road. They moved that next to the old Conover house.
In back of the video?
No, no, where the video was,
Where it was?
yeah,
And that was Dr. Smith's home that was moved over there, wasn't it?
in back, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yes, I remember it as
Yeah.
Dr. Smith's home. You remember it as the
Yeah.
Conover home, or
Yeah.
whose home was that?
Yeah, Conover's.
Conover's?
Yeah. And I got pictures of the old Dayton school.